Hello guys, welcome on board. My name is Jack, I'm a real airline pilot flying Boeing 737. Today in this video I'm going to show you how we use the real procedures and how a flight simulator, in this case FS6, can be quite useful as a tool to improve your skills as a pilot in case you want to become a real professional pilot or in case you like to be a simmer. Today we are going to fly from Milan Malpensa to Amsterdam, and the flight will take around 1 hour and 30 minutes, more or less. Apologize in advance because I'm not using the newest flight simulator, but I'm still using FS6, the oldest one. I really like this one, so please be patient with me because I know this simulator is not the best one. And sometimes can be some delays during the direct and with the graphics, so sorry. As discussed in my life, I'm a professional pilot. I fly on the Boeing 737-800 and I flew also the 737 MAX 8, the newest model. What I want to do with this video is try to share with you my short experience and try to share with you how we do this job every day in a flight deck. So we'll try to be more realistic as possible. I will try to use all the checklist and the callouts. When we will be airborne, I will try to explain you a little bit better in the detail what we can do with this 737 PMDG simulator. At the moment, as I told you, we are at the stand in Milan Malpensa airport and we're about to be pushed back. Just to save a little bit of time, the engines are already operative, so we are going to skip all the part about the startup and we can proceed out with the pushback. So we can start. Now we are about to be pushed back and we will proceed with the taxi to be aligned with the runway 35 left here in Milan Malpensa airport. And when the clear for takeoff for runway 35 left, we are going to fly our standard instrument departure. Today will be in Airline 6 Alpha. And Airline 6 Alpha is our RNAV departure, so we need to be authorized. The plane should be certified for this type of operations, and it's quite different compared to the conventional departure because when you fly RNAV you have to be accurate 100%. You cannot do deviation, so you have to be very accurate because you have to fly over some waypoints, and in the real life you are monitored by the ATC. So for this reason we try to be accurate, most accurate as possible. Just to clarify in advance, I'm not mother tongue, so I try to be very accurate with English, but maybe as you can understand by my accent, I'm Italian, so I will try to be accurate with you, especially if you are a native speaker. So also in this case, I apologize for any mistakes I can commit during my conversations with you. Okay, the pushback is complete, and in this case, as we can see, maybe it's better to be pushed a little bit far away because we are very close to the stand. So in this case again, we can continue. Other 40 meters will be enough in my opinion. Probably a lot of you they are going to use the PMDG simulator. I know FS6 is not the best one, but I think for this type of job to refresh the IFR skills and also to be involved in the loop of a professional pilot can be quite useful, and in my opinion it is still interesting. Of course, I would like to switch on Microsoft Simulator 2020 or the newest one, 2024. I'm still considering. Honestly, I'm a little bit lazy about, but probably in the future I will do. Okay, so I request to be pushed far away, more 40 meters, because we are too close to the buildings. And so just a second. We can spend this time talking about the configuration. As I told you, the plane is already started. And also there is one door that is now closed. We can start from this part, just to show you. After the engine start, we are going to put the yaw damper on. We have all the fuel pumps that are on. The two engines are providing at the moment the electrical current that we need for the flight. The belts are on. I'm waiting for a reply, for a response by the cabin crew. Window beat are on, pre-beat are on. All the pumps, electric and hydraulic pumps, are on. Both packs are on auto. The isolation valve is on auto. The engine bleeds are on. APU bleed is off. APU is off. Engine start switch are on continuous. And we have the anti-collision light on. And the position strobe lights is on. And when we will be ready for the taxi, I'm going to switch also these lights. And about the flaps configuration, we are going to take up with flaps 5. So I'm going to put here flaps 5. In the real life, as I told you, we are going to use some checklist. The first checklist we use is the pre-flight checklist. Then we have the before start checklist, before starting the engine. And in this case, before starting the taxi and when cleared for taxi, we are going to call the before taxi checklist. So in this case, the before taxi checklist in my company is generators on, pro-beat on, anti-ice off, isolation valve auto, engine start switches continuous, recall checked, auto brake set, RTO, flaps fire required, fire selected, green light, and flight controls checked. Flight controls checked. We put full forward, full back, full left, full right, and the pedal as well. So right, full left. Before taxi checklist is completed. Also, we have to be extra careful about the ground equipment because sometimes the tow bar and the bus pins can be still inserted. So we have to be sure that everything has been disconnected and all the doors are closed, everything is clean. And in this case now we can request for taxi. So I'm going to call ATC and I will ask for taxi. After receiving the clearance, we are going to put these lights on. Also, I want to be sure that you are aware that in each company there are some different procedures, SOP, standard operating procedures. So maybe something that is good in my company can be different in another company. So just to be sure about this. Okay. As you can see, we are starting the taxi. Okay, I'm quite sure that now at the moment you are complaining because the graphic is a shit. I know. So I'm so sorry for this, but okay. So we are taxiing. We have to reach the holding point for runway 3, fire left. Of course, in the real life, we have to ask the clearance, we have to interface ourselves with the ATC because there are other traffic around us, so we cannot go everywhere without any type of clearance. So, but this is just a session of simulator, so we can proceed. Of course, be careful in the real life. Also, if you are considering to become a pilot, you have to respect some rules. So you have to ask ATC clearance, you have to be aware of all the traffic around you, and so on. So in this case, we can continue. I was considering also to use the VATSIM. The VATSIM is an online network with a lot of pilots and ATC. But as I told you, my computer is not the best one, so I'm quite sure that everything will be stacked, and so I prefer to avoid this. So I prefer continue this way. But maybe with a new computer and also with a new Microsoft Flight Simulator, I can consider to connect also VATSIM. And this is a quite interesting tool that is absolutely interesting if you want to learn the phraseology, and also to understand the basics of the IFR skills, all the aviation systems works. So we'll see, maybe in another video. For today, it's better to continue this way because I prefer avoid any problem with the simulator. Okay, you have to consider also one thing. In each airport there are some speed restrictions, so it means that you cannot go faster as you want, but you have to follow some speed restriction, because otherwise your company will be sanctioned. And it's not a good idea when your chief pilot will call you to ask clarification about why you were taxiing at 50 knots in the airport. So follow the speed restriction. Speed restriction means that on the airport you can taxi around maximum 50 knots. On a taxiway you can reach also 30 knots. And in case of backtrack you can reach also 50 knots. There are some small modifications, it depends on the runway condition, but you can use this speed as a guidelines in case you are interested about this limitation, but just be careful that you have to follow this. You cannot go as a Formula 1 at 300 kilometers per hour, of course. Okay, we are proceeding to our holding point. We have completed the before taxi checklist and we are continuing. In this case, the cabin crew, usually in the normal real life, they will call us to say that the cabin is secure. When the cabin is secure, it means that the passengers are seated with their belts, and in this case we can advise the tower that we are ready for departure. And sometimes they will reply to you as a Roger or continue or stand by. Sometimes if there are no any traffic, final, they can already give us the clearance to line up and take off. So in this case, we assume that there is no one around us, so we can continue to the point, line up and clear for take around with 3-5 left in Milan Malpensa. As told you, we are going to fly standard instrument departure. Everything is already set in the FMC, our flight management computer, that will help us to keep the right track and to fly over some specified 10-minute waypoints. And then we go. Our final cruise level for today will be flight level 340. We are going to fly over the Alps, and leaving Italy we proceed over Swiss, France, and then we proceed direct to Netherlands. Okay. 1 hour and 30 minutes, more or less. We'll see. It depends by the tailwinds, it depends by some factors. But yeah, I would say more or less is 1 hour and 20, 1 hour and 30 minutes. Okay, we are going to approach our runway, the runway 35 left. I start using a little bit of brakes because I don't want to overshoot our perfect, more or less perfect. Probably I also forgot to switch the lights. Lights are quite important, especially during night time, because as told you are not alone in an airport, so you have to be visible by other traffic around you. In this case, we are more or less alone in this airport. Okay, so now we go on the left. We have to be careful to follow the yellow line in front of us. And it's not easy because it is a simulator, and you can imagine, especially with the simulator from Jurassic area, is not the best one, but I think can be useful for you just to understand the basics. Okay, so in this case is our call sign is Zabia 33 Mike Tango, ready for departure. Line up and clear for takeoff, runway 35 left, Transavia 33 Mike Tango. Okay, runway 35 left is identified, the final approach sector is free. We have some flow. It depends by each company. My company, for example, we put position, strobe and steady slides. And also here, pilot flying is going to activate weather radar and the pilot monitoring the terrain mode. Then also here we have to inform our cabin crew, our colleagues. So to inform your colleagues, you put your behave, and that's this one. Yeah, you can see it's quite slow. Okay, in this case, cabin crew, take your seats for departure. Switch again, and then you pull the transponder on TARA. And then we have to read and do the before takeoff checklist. So in this case, the before takeoff checklist is flaps, and we check here, green light. Stop trim, 614 unit sets, cabin and security, STRA, before takeoff checklist is complete. And we can line up and clear for takeoff. There's a strange noise, I don't know what is going on. As usual, you can see how wonderful is my computer. The graphic looks like in the 90s, but that's it. Okay, the pilot flying will advance the thrust lever, will be a rolling takeoff, so without stopping. The pilot flying will advance the thrust lever at 40%, and the pilot monitoring will verify that 40% is set. And now what you do is to push toga, but in this case the simulator is not the best one, so let me see again if I can push toga on the other seats, because it's not easy. Okay, I want to use this view. Okay, toga, set takeoff thrust. Thrust set. If you're not, check it. V1, rotate. So beautiful. This simulator is absolutely shit, but it's okay for our reading. Pointy rate, here. Okay, and now we can fly. Feet. I'm going to engage the command A, if it works. Okay, nose down, it's too high, and the speed is going down. It's not a good idea. Of course, command A is engaged, and we're going to increase our speed. Perfect. We're flying our standard instrument departure, as you can see here. I'll show you better. Okay, so now we're proceeding straight and then on the left. Reaching our acceleration altitude, the plane will point the nose down and we are going to increase our speed. And we start to retract flaps on schedule. Of course, I forgot to mention the briefing, all this stuff, but it's my first video, so be patient with me. In the next video we'll try to be more accurate. But okay, the speed is increasing, so in this case is flaps 1, speed check, flaps 1. And we verify also the retraction. Flaps 1 set. Speed is increasing. Flaps up, speed check. Flaps up. In this case, we assume that the controller is clearing us to increase our altitude. So we are cleared to climb, for example, flight level 200. So the pilot flying is going to set here flight level 200, and pointing my finger, I will say set. The pilot monitoring will verify that the flight level is already set correctly. So flight level 200 is checked. Let's see, climb. Okay, enable 250 knots at hard tip. Okay, we'll fix later. Clear. Okay, so flaps up, no lights. So the pilot monitoring will perform on flow. In this case, we'll put engine switching off. Landing gear in the middle. Outbrake off. And the pilot flying will call for the after takeoff checklist. The after takeoff checklist usually is positioned here. And in this case, I'm going to use the real after takeoff checklist that I use in my Airline. So after takeoff checklist, engine bleeds, Pax auto, and landing gear up and off. The landing gear is there, and the flaps up, no lights. When cleared to climb with flight level, we can set the altimeters on standard. On my side and pilot monitoring side. So altimeters standard set, cross check with other pilots, and after the checklist is complete. Match the heading always. So in this case 233. So I'm going to set here 233 because it's quite important, just for awareness. And we are climbing. At the moment we are crossing flight level 100, so the call will be altimeters, and we cross check. I want to delete this restriction because we don't need it. Altimeters, and we cross check that both we have flight level 100. At this point I'm going to switch off the light. I forgot these lights, but please, I told you, be patient with me because it's a flight simulator. I'm using a computer that is not the best one, so I try to be more accurate as possible, but sometimes I can commit some mistakes. Okay, we verify the pressurization. The cabin altitude is climbed, the rate of climb is good, everything is good. We verify that everything is set correctly, and usually the pilot monitoring and the pilot flying will discuss together if it's the case to release the cabin crew and the passengers. In this case, the airflow is the flight is smooth, so we can release the passengers. So auto and this no smoking will be off, just to inform the cabin crew that they can start their job. Okay, so now and setter panel just to verify that everything is good. Okay, and we used to set also the emergency frequency that is 1215, 1215, 1215, 1215 set. In this simulator I don't have the CPLC, as usually in the real life we are going to set also the CPLC menu. There is a section here and we set up and we start also the CPLC, but in this case we don't have. And that's it. It's already a miracle that I'm able to fly this simulator, because this computer is 7 years old and I bought this computer when I was doing my ATPL exams almost 10 years ago, so it's crazy. Anyway, just to discuss about something different. Okay, so we are climbing flight level 200. Our speed is 303 knots. Usually we switch to Mach around flight level 260 automatically. We don't need the MFRA, so I can delete the MFRA. The TC will clear to climb flight level 340, our final level. I'm going to set 340 here. Set. And the pilot monitoring will verify on the FMA. Flight level 340 is checked. 3 times we verify that everything is set correctly, so 1, 2, and also in the FMC 3. And we verify that VNAV is engaged. So VNAV, we check the FMA VNAV. Every time we have to verify on the FMA that everything is set correct. We don't assume. Every time we have to confirm that each mode selected is engaged. So we select in the MCP and we verify on the FMA that everything is engaged. Okay, so we continue climb. I want to increase our map range because it's tight, too tight for me. So let me see. Okay, it's good. Engine parameters are good. Usually we blank this screen to allow any pop-ups to show up in case there is any failure. Perfect, perfect. We are crossing the Alps between Italy and Switzerland, and for the moment the flight looks smooth. Here we go. So guys, we come back into the flight deck, and so we can verify everything here. So we're continue climbing flight level 340. I don't know why I have 341. 340 is good. Perfect. And between flight level 200 and flight level 280 we perform the RVSM check. The RVSM check is quite useful because we have to compare our altimeters and also the standby altimeters, just to be sure that there are not any significant deviations, because to operate in the airspace between flight level 290 and flight level 410 We have to be sure 100% that our equipment is full operative. And usually when we cross, for example, flight level 230, we cross-check that our altimeters don't show any significant deviations. So in this case, aviation check, passing flight level 230 now, and we compare everything. Good. We continue climbing flight level 340. We can take a look about our FMC, the flight management computer, and we can see, okay, so our optimum flight level is 347, so 340 is good. The maximum is 361, but we don't care because we are too heavy at the moment, so 340 is good for the moment. And the next page, we are proceeding to Aosta, that we are about to reach Aosta in 5.2 nautical miles. Then morning, Devdi over Sorel, and we continue to Amsterdam. We should reach Amsterdam in, now is 1300. We should reach Amsterdam in around 1 hour and 30 minutes, as I told you. We should land with 15.1 tons of fuel. At the moment we have 18.3 tons of fuel. And that's it. I will show you other stuff when we reach our cruise level. It's good time now for coffee. This is the magic button from the cabin crew that we need the coffee. Perfect. So for me, black, no sugar, no milk. Thank you. Fantastic. Okay. Lovely, lovely graphic. You see these mountains with these squares. It's really crazy how the technology is improving. Of course, I'm joking, guys, because I'm quite aware about my computer is a shit. I know, but that's it. Perfect. So we can continue climbing flight level 340. The aviation check has been completed. We completed the after takeoff checklist. When we reach our cruise level, we'll do other interesting stuff. But for the moment, that's it. We can sit back and relax. Usually I put down my seats back. Just to clarify, I'm not captain in the real life, I'm just a first officer. Better known as a gear and flaps operator. Unfortunately. Just joking, just kidding. Okay, so the next point will be morning, that we are going to reach in 45.9 miles. At the moment we have a slight tailwind from 269, 25 miles. It's good for us. Let's see in the plan mode. Okay, so we just crossed over us, we just passed over the host and we're proceeding that morning, and then on the left everything as planned. Very good. We can take a look about engine parameters just to be sure about everything is good. And one EGT fuel flow. We have the fuel indication. We are very heavy today because we are assuming that reaching Amsterdam we will take off immediately for another flight. It can happen. Sometimes also if you don't need fuel immediately, we tanker the tanks because sometimes it's more convenient and advantageous, or because there are some limitation in other airports, there are no any fuel refuelers. So in this case we are assuming that we refuel the plane and we tanker the plane in Malpensa just to be sure that reaching Amsterdam we are able to take off as soon as possible. We can take a look about the lower display unit here as well and verify also the other engine parameters. So engine, and here we have N2. The N2 is the compressor section of our engines. Fuel flow, oil pressure, oil temperature, oil quantity, vibration, everything is within the limit, so we can assume we are going to reach our destination today. Maybe. Okay, in this page we have the hydraulic system, Alpha and Bravo, the pressure, 3000 psi, 2170 psi, the brake temperature, 00, and here we have indication about the position of the rudder, the elevator, spoilers and ailerons. At the moment, the autopilot, in this case command A, with the system, the hydraulic system A is controlling the plane. Okay, I'm going to blank again, this we don't need. Maybe some blank. Good, we're crossing flight level 300. As I told you, in each company there are some different SOP procedures. So, for example, in my company, and also in other major companies in Europe, we used to put the bank angle on 10 degrees. We put this and we verify angle of bank 10 degrees. Also, we have to be extra careful when we're about to reach our target altitude, so in this case flight level 340, and we have to monitor our rate of climb. Sometimes you will climb fast as a rocket, and you have to be extra careful because maybe you have other traffic above your head. So if you are climbing with a rate of climb about 3000 feet per minute and you have a plane that is flying above you, the TCAS can start providing some alerts to other traffic around you. So in this case, it's a good airmanship and sometimes also a procedure, like in my company, to use the vertical speed, reducing the rate of climb 3000, 2000, 1000 feet per minute. Depends by the distance that you need to reach your target altitude. So in this case, we need 2000 feet to reach 340. We have a rate of climb 1100, so we can continue using VNAV. But after crossing 330, if the rate of climb will be still 1100, we have to engage vertical speed and set the rate of climb about 1000 feet per minute. This is just to avoid any TCAS interactions with other traffic around. Then you have to fill a safety report, so it's better avoiding and follow the procedures. It's always a good practice. Okay, we're about to reach 330. Let's see what happens. Okay, maybe it is a good idea to engage the vertical speed. So, vertical speed, reduce 1000, verify vertical speed. Good. So we are clean, we avoid any type of problem. Okay, now we are about to reach morning and we proceed directly, so we can start turning and set our heading bag. Perfect. Okay. RPSM check is quite useful because we have to compare our altimeters and also the standard altimeters, just to be sure that there are not any significant deviations because the airspace level to end. So guys, now we reached our flight cruise level, so 340. 340 and 340 and we verify, we engage, sorry, the VNAV again. FMC speed, VNAV path is there. Okay, now we are cruising at flight level 340 and we can check at FMC how many nautical miles are missing in order to reach our top of descent. So in this case 334 nautical miles. When we are reaching our top of climb, so flight level 340 in this case, we are going also to verify the engine out page. The engine out page is an engine out page showing us some interesting information in case we are going to lose, or we assume to lose, the left or the right engine. You have to know that if we lose one engine, the left or the right engine, we cannot still flying at the same level as with two engines, but we have to descend. And because the plane is too heavy and one engine is not powerful enough in order to keep the same altitude. So in this case we assume we are going to lose the left engine. And left engine. With just one engine operative, we can maintain maximum altitude flight level 105, and our target speed with one engine operative is 259 knots. So it's a good airmanship to write down these two data, just to be anticipated, because you never know what is going to happen in your daily life. So we can come back to cruise page and wait for our top of descent. Usually during the cruise we can relax a little bit, drink a coffee, discuss with your colleague and start reading some interesting documents like the arrival charts for, in this case, for Amsterdam, and any restriction, the airfield briefing and other stuff. The cruise is always a good moment to refresh everything, especially when you have a flight a little bit longer that allow you to take your time and refresh important materials that you have to know during your job. For the moment, I'm going to read some documents and I will leave you alone for a while. See you in around 100 nautical miles.
Southwest 9 Bravo Romeo. 416.
Just to confirm fully established.
Hey, sir. 416.
Thank you, sir. 416. Contact Tower 118.6. Goodbye.
118, yeah, good morning, 416.
Thank you, too. Shamrock 60 Romeo, Charlie to Lambo.
Return to Lambo, Shamrock 60 Romeo. Link 5, taxiway 1, and send it 1-to-1, and take over. Forward established, Shamrock 5 Mike.
Thank you, Shamrock 5 Mike. Number 2, continue.
Thank you, Shamrock 5 Mike.
Shamrock 60 Romeo, you're clear to ILS approach runway 28 left to report established.
Clear to ILS 28 left to call established, Shamrock 60 Romeo. Rail rescue 26, Corey on link 4, going to head over to rail 4 now, continue recording today.
Access 226, contact ground north 125, decimal 885.
165-884, the rescue 2, thank you. Rail rescue 26. Rescue 260, cleared over on Northern Apron, giving Britain testing and time aircraft. Clear to continue on the Northern Apron, keep wait on all of the aircraft. That's right. With the 0 and good 120, next to it, my brother. Ice 416 to 70 degrees 5, runway 28 left, clear now, vacate 06, 705. Vacate 05, clear to land runway 28 left, ice 416.
Romeo, good morning, taxi whiskey 2, hold short runway 16.
Taxi whiskey 2, hold short runway 16, connected with I'm Bravo.
It's a level.
Right turn onto the Sierra taxi base, contact ground 12 decimal way. Onto the Sierra and 12 decimal 8, Sierra 46.
Show 15 by 270 degrees and 7 on way 28 left to clear to land.
Right 3 left, clear to land, Shamrock 15 Mike.
EC6 from November 1, enter runway 28 right, report runway vacate.
From November 1, enter 28 right, report runway vacate.
That's 9 Bravo Romeo, cross runway 34, Mike 1, link 4, stand 207 Tango.
Juliet and Whiskey continue at link 4, Fox Outer, November, hold at Neptune. Link 4, Fox Outer, November 2, hold at Neptune, right there. 7
Good morning, taxi whiskey 2, hold short runway 16.
Taxi Whiskey 2, hold short runway 16, Sierra 16.
Access 9 Bravo Romeo, apologies, give way to the outbound Ryanair link 4, please.
Give
way to the outbound Ryanair 737, he'll be turning onto Fox Outer, give way to him at link 4.
Give way to Ryanair, Chris Manbrother. Good morning, Tower 922 ILS 28 left.
United 228, good morning. Continue the approach to windows 260 degrees at 8 knots.
Sierra, QNH 1024.
QNH 1024, clear push start, to police point here, Shamrock 60 seconds. The Shamrock 4524, ready to taxi, please.
Shamrock 524, taxi Tango, Foxes, hold short of link 4.
Tango Foxes, hold short link 4, Shamrock 524, thank you.
7158 morning, push and start approved, QNH 1024. Push and start approved, QNH 1024, Shamrock 158. Air 7001, contact approach, 121 decimal 1, goodbye.
Run 01. Run 7001, descending level 702.
Well, that's 7001, good morning again. Your cruise direct to Lapo. Descend to altitude 3,000 feet. QNH is 1024.
Left side direct, descend 3,000 feet, 1024, run 7001.
Cross runway 16 onto Mike 1, hold on Mike 1.
Cross runway 16 up to Mike 1, hold at Mike 1, I sir, 416.
Channel 458, if you haven't started moving, can you go back to hotel for me, please? Okay, push to hotel, Channel 158. Thank you.
Channel 1, 5 Mike 1, okay, here.
Channel 45 Mike, morning, taxi whiskey 1, hold for runway 16.
Taxi 1, hold for runway 16, Shamrock 1 Mike.
I said 416, contact Grand North 125, just on 885, bye-bye.
585, right here, 416, have a good day.
28 left, report established.
Good, on it is 28 left, 76, running 7001.
Right, BG6, thank you. Hold short at 28 right and back to Grand North on 125, decimal 885.
Hold short 28 right, don't make the mail on 416. You wish to go to the main apron now? Hey, turn around there. Cross 16 on to November, get to November, so about there. Back up. That's a good, cross. I'm 16 on to November. Cross 16 on to November. Well, Echo Yankee, ready for us. Sugar Echo Yankee to Fox Outer for traffic 4. Shamrock Yankee, contact ground 121, that's right. 121, that's right.
Mike, I'm not sure if you got that, but cross runway 34 Hotel 1, then the second right, apron 4, stand 318 Romeo.
Take this cross from the Hotel 1, and it's 24, and 318 Romeo, Shamrock 1 Mike. Shamrock, Echo Yankee, hold short 34.
Echo Yankee, have you got the company on your right?
Hey, sir, what do?
Okay, behind him, link 4, apron 4, stand 313 Charlie.
Behind Toby, link 4, 84, 3 Charlie, on the bottom of that. Thanks very much for that. You can resume normal speed again and contact ground on 121, there's like 42. Normal speed, we appreciate what's just around on 121. Yes, have a great day. Thank you. Pretty good. 270 degrees at 8 knots. Okay, thank you. Tango, Foxtrot, hold short, link 4, Shamrock 6 here, Tango. 118, decimal 6, come away. 118, decimal 6, just 37 Echo, stop.
On right, runway 34, hold short whiskey 4.
That's okay, 1 right, 1634, and hold short with 4, Shamrock 94. Tempston 37 Echo, continue the approach to wind 270 degrees 8 knots. Studio Justin 37 Echo. Sierra, looking across it, runway head to spot 4 miles.
Yes, 228, good morning, hold short runway 34, I have 1 outbound to affect you.
We'll hold short of the runway, 39 in the 228. That's Sierra 5 and continue on to the Sierra taxiway, hold short on Sierra 4. Sierra 5 on the Sierra, hold short Sierra 4, Shamrock 60 Romeo. Chance on 37 echo the wind to 60 degrees at 8, runway 28 left, to clear left.
Clear left, 28 left, just 37 echo.
And over Ryanair 3 Juliet Whiskey is in the right turn with the road test departure, climbing 5790 and passing 3,300 feet now.
Ryanair 70 Whiskey doesn't identify, clear direct road test and climb flight level 120 and no level restriction.
Direct road test, climb flight level 120, no level restriction, Ryanair 7 Juliet Whiskey.
Alright, thanks very much for that, Shamrock 5 bye.
No problem, take care.
Ground Shamrock 1 on Mike, with this holding shoulder, wing, runway, wing for college.
Section 1.5 mic report from your part.
Now, Shamrock Echo Yankee reporting on the band 313 charge. Thank you.
Thank you, Echo Yankee. Good morning.
And the Shamrock 60 Romeo, the handler is going to be after the gate, directly by to you. You can keep the speed of that. You pass Sierra 4, continue down Sierra, hold short runway 34.
Straight on Sierra is hold short at 34, Shamrock 60 Romeo.
Thanks. Execution 24.
That's Shamrock 158, we are fully ready again now.
Yeah, well.
Section 158, company on 318 Romeo, not fully parked, 20 is, your push inside approved to November, QNH is 1025. Okay, once we're clear of that company, traffic on 318, we're clear to push and start to November, QNH 1025, Shamrock 158. Shamrock 158, if you can get out to go to a hotel right there, that's just let me know. We'll go, Shamrock 158. United 228, cross runway 34, Bravo 2, Tango, stand 405.
Further cross, Bravo 2, Tango 2, 405. That's it, thank you very much. Ground hello, Shamrock 60 Romeo on the Sierra, the hold short 34.
Shamrock 60 Romeo, good morning, continue Sierra with, sorry, Chris. Sorry, Shamrock 60 Romeo, continue Sierra, cross runway 34, Bravo 2, Tango, stand 418.
Sierra is cross 34. Bravo 2, Tango, stand 418, Shamrock 60 Romeo.
Shamrock 60 Tango, check QNH 1025.
135, Shamrock 60 Tango.
Shamrock 60 Tango, continue Fox Outer, hold short link 5.
See you Fox Outer, hold short link 5, Shamrock 60 Tango.
Finally, Shamrock 60 Tango, ground north now, 125, is decimal 885, bye-bye.
Ground north 125, decimal 885, Shamrock 60 Tango, good morning.
Just a 37 echo, just on Sierra.
Just a 37 echo, good morning, taxi whiskey 2, cross runway 16 onto mic 1, hold on mic 1.
52 cross 16, hold mic 1, just a 37 echo.
Shamrock 158, we're able to push to hotel. Shamrock 158, just understood, push and start through to hotel. Push and start approved to hotel, Shamrock 158.
Runner 60, great, thank you very much. Ground north 1, Shamrock 60, Tango, 25.
Shamrock 60 Tango, no, continue Fox Outer, November, hold at Tune, QNH 1025 into Belfast.
Okay, Fox Outer 25 cleared, Fox Outer, November, hold short on Neptune, Shamrock 60 Tango.
W70 Papa, Ryanair traffic on the left is pushing back to Delta November, with that traffic is clear, no push to start program Delta Sierra, please. Okay, options are Royal Air on Delta November, and we are pushing for approved Delta Sierra,
Contact ground north 125, decimal 885, bye-bye.
1585, just 37 echo, yeah.
How many nautical miles are missing in order to reach our top? In this case, 334 nautical miles.
7001 yes, the wind is from 260 degrees at 8, runway 28 left, to your left.
Left runway 001.
Okay guys, we are about 130 nautical miles from our top of descent. Usually we start the configuration and approach briefing around 100 nautical miles, but in this case I want to start slightly in advance, just a little bit in advance, just to be sure that we have enough time to understand everything and miss nothing. Okay, so in this case the pilot flying will keep the controls to the pilot monitoring, and the call out usually is you have control, FMC speed nav in path, maintaining flat level at 340, you have control. And the pilot flying at this moment will start the configuration. So we know that we are going in Amsterdam, and we have to prepare the plane for the approach. So we have to be sure that the FMC is configured for the correct arrival. So in this case it's now called to Alpha. And we are going to fly an ILS approach for runway 27. We have the frequency. So I'm going to prepare everything. So first of all, I set the course to 66 on both sides, but it's better if I switch. Two 66 set on both sides. Okay, 266. Fantastic. Excellent. Then I will come back here. The frequency is 11155. So I'm going to set the frequency 11155 set on both sides. 11155. Okay, perfect. So now we need the charts to perform our check and to verify everything. So in this case, for the approach chart, we will fly LS for runway 27. So I will check everything. Also the minima, that for our approach is 188. So I will set also the minima. You can see here. But I want to fly a cut to approach an autoland, so I will switch here, red altimeter, and we need 100 feet. I want to fly an autoland because, you know, it's a simulator, so it's not easy perform a good landing with this type of simulator. So just to avoid to fucked up everything, I prefer flying an autoland, just to be sure. Okay. Same thing also on the pilot monitoring side. So radio and 100 feet radio altimeter. Because when you fly an autoland, so cut 2, cut 3 approach, you're not going to use the barometric altimeter, but you need the radio altimeter. So in this case, we have to switch from baro to radio. That's it. Perfect. So, okay. I'm going to open the chart, Norco to Alpha, and we're going to verify all the points together. So, Norco to Alpha, the chart is the chart tenders to release on 27 September 24. Eco Hotel Alpha Mike, Amsterdam Schipol. There are some points, but the most important here is that we have a restriction, maximum 250 knots below flight level 100. In this case, at default, we have 240. I want to put 250 because you never know, maybe we'll be a little bit faster. 250, and we're coming from Norco. From Norco, between flight level 30 and 200 checked. Then we proceed on track 307, crossing Sonsa, Robis, Oskur, and reaching Artip is our transition. At Artip we have some speed restriction, maximum 250 knots between flight level 100 and flight level 70. Okay, that's good. Then from this point RTIP is our transition. We proceed. Just a second because I'm checking my chart. So from RTIP we proceed inbound. Well, probably RTIP is not the best one, so that's correct. From RTIP we proceed in direct Sierra Papa Lima Schipol 108.4 and holding. Then from Sierra Papa Lima turn right, Alpha Mike 260, Alpha Mike 261, Alpha Mike 262, Titvo 2000 feet, and we proceed on track 266 inbound, Alpha Mike 639. Alpha Mike 639 is our final approach point. From this point we intercept a 3-degree path down to the minima that radial altimeter is 100, set on both sides. Approach the runway, we have a puppy on the left side and high intensity approach lighting system type 2. We have to brief also the go around maneuver. So in case of go around, I will push Tolga, we'll call for go around thrust flap 50, positive rate, gear up. Pass in front of AGL, LNAV, and we tune the missed approach frequency in case. We climb on track 266. So again, we check also here the missed approach procedure. 266 track, 3000 feet. Then we form the TC. Maximum speed is 220, so I want to put here 220 or below because you never know. Invalid entry, fantastic. 220. That's okay, 220. Perfect. About the landing, we are going to land with 15 tons of fuel. At the moment, is quantity is 16.1, so the difference is about 1,100 kilograms. So our landing weight will be 73.4. 73.4. I want to land with flap 30%. So our final approach speed will be 156 plus 5 knots with correction. We are going to set and MCP in the MCP speed 161. And that's it. After landing for runway 27, we expect to vacate via November 4 and then we will wait instruction by the TC. Of course, I'm going to stop the plane on the runway and for today it's enough because you know the simulator is not the best. Unfortunately, and that's it. Any questions, any suggestions? No? So approach briefing is complete. My controls, please. So the pilot monitor will give me back the controls and I will call for the descent checklist. Descent checklist. Pressurization. Landing altitude. I will 0 feet because it's at sea level. Then recall. Checked. Auto brake. We are going to set flaps correction RTO 3 just to stop as soon as possible. Landing data. Landing data we read here in the PFD. BRF flap 30, 156, final approach speed will be 161 and the minimum radial 100. Approach briefing completed and descent checklist is complete. Perfect. So everything is prepared. We're about to reach Amsterdam. Randy is in front of us, 66.1 nautical miles. The top of descent is in about 61 nautical miles. When we're about to reach our top of descent, we can see here reset MCP altitude. Of course, in the real life, we can expect sometimes some shortcuts. So in case there are some shortcuts, we have to anticipate these shortcuts. But in this case, I want to fly all the procedure without any type of problem, so we're going to follow all the standard arrival, just to be sure. Also in the fixed page, we can set some interesting things just to increase our situational awareness. In this case, we are going to land for runway 27, so I will put runway 27. I will put a 10-mile ring, because at this point, reaching the 10-mile ring, I want to be sure that my speed is around 200 knots, and it's just to avoid any high energy approach, just to increase our situational awareness. Also, I will put a 4-mile ring, because at this target I want to pull the gear down, and just to avoid an increase of fuel consumption and noise. It's a low drag approach. Also, this depends by each company. In some major companies like Ryanair or other companies, I know they use these 4-mile rings. In my company, we use 6-mile rings, but 4-mile rings is a discretion, so I think it can be useful. I don't want to be configured too early with the gear down. As I told you, in the real life, there are some noise sensitive areas, and you have to respect this limitation. So sometimes you have to keep high speed until 8 miles, 6 miles, 4 miles. It depends. Each company, each airport has different procedures. So for this reason, I want to retard the extension of my gear, and that's it. Perfect. So 60 miles to reach our top of descent. Okay, good. I want to match my heading because it's better. Good. So at the moment we need still 39 nautical miles, so we're about to approach our top of descent. Approaching our top of descent, we start the descent to Norco. Probably we'll start the descent to flight level 200. It depends. Also, some important data during the descent. Our target speed will be 250 knots, but we can keep also a little bit higher speed, so 280 can be a good option. 280. Okay. Forecast page. Sometimes when we pick up the 80s, sometimes every time, the automatic terminal information system will share with us the transition level for that airport. Transition level is the level at which we have to select the altimeters from standard to the local QNH. In this case, the default setting is flight level 180. We can assume that in Amsterdam our QNH will be standard as well, so we'll put 0 QNH 1013. In this section we can select and put some winds. It depends by the company. Sometimes we used to put wind at flight level 300, 180 and 100. In this case I don't have any wind, so we assume wind is calm. But it's quite useful because during the descent using the VNAV, the computer will calculate a profile that you can see here. You can see here during the descent, and if you have more data, the calculation of this computer can be more accurate. So this is much better, because especially when you don't have any visibility, you assume to be on profile, but maybe you will be higher or lower, and if you have speed restrictions and you are very close to the airport, it can be a little bit tricky. So if you have more data, use them, why not? Also, it depends by the company. My company is procedures, so you have to set the winds in advance. Okay, cruise page, everything is prepared. 33 nautical miles to reach our top of descent. We can enjoy a little bit this wonderful view over Netherlands. You can see the sea, all the channels and the rivers in this beautiful country. Amsterdam Airport Schipol is one of the busiest airports in the world. Multiple runway. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runways. 27, 09, 18 left, center and right. Runway 24, runway 22. It's a very big airport. Especially during the night. I flew a lot of times in Amsterdam. We used to land runway 18 right. That is the farthest runway in the Schipol, and the taxi takes around 20-25 minutes in order to reach the main terminal. So it's a very big airport. Interesting. You have to be extra careful, extra vigilant about any restriction, and open your ears during the approach, because there are a lot of traffic around. So it's quite important that you are into the loop. Good. So 23 nautical miles. During the descent I will switch the belts on to inform the cabin crew to check all the passengers are seated. Also, this procedure depends by each company. In my company, when you start the descent, you have to put the belts on, and crossing flight level 300 you have to look off from the CPDLC. In other companies, when you are at 15 minutes or flight level 150, it depends, I will remember correctly. In my previous company, you had to put the belts on. So it depends. Each company has different procedures. Especially sometimes in the low cost, they wait to put the belts on because maybe the cabin crew are completing the service. But in normal companies, we can start these procedures also in advance, because the cabin crew, they don't have any type of this service. So after the normal service, the job is over. Okay, so match the heading as well. Good. Turn right, 13 nautical miles. So I'm going to reset MCP flight level 200 as discussed previously. 200. And we can request descent. So in this case, radar Transavia 33 Mike Tang request descent. Descent flight level 200 Transavia 33 Mike Tang. Set flight level 200 is checked. Halt intervent, and we start our descent. So over the panel, belts on, and go at home finally. Not my official home. My home was 2 hours ago in our origin airport. Okay, match the heading. Direct Norco 41 miles. Norco is the first point of our arrival. Norco to Alpha in Amsterdam. We assume we already checked the ATIS. Frequency 132980. To check the ATIS, it's quite important to check the ATIS. And to check the ATIS, you put the frequency here, then you switch, you select VHF2, is a pallet monitoring duty. Checking the ATIS, you have a lot of information available. So in this case, you have the wind, the pressure, the KNH, the transition level, the expected arrival, the expected runway for the landing and the takeoff, everything. It's quite important because when you have all the data available, you can put all the data into the OPT. The OPT is the onboard performance tool. It's a fantastic software that a lot of company uses. It's provided with the company iPad, and using the OPT you can calculate a lot of quite useful information, like the landing distance available, the landing distance required for any selected runway, and in this case you can calculate which auto brake you can use, and other interesting functions. So it's quite useful, and also it's mandatory to pick up this, because in case of SAFA inspection they will check your iPad, they will check your documents, and they want to know if you did your job during the cruise phase of the flight. So fuel check, and also monitoring the weather. Okay, we start in descent. We have tailwind 270, 25 nautical miles. We are on profile, as you can see. In this phase of flight, the RMP, required navigation performance, is 2.00. So it means that we have to within a corridor of 2 nautical miles. Our actual navigation performance is 0.05. So it means that we are within this limitation. If you exceed this value, you cannot fly on hard nav. So in some airports you cannot land, because sometimes the hard nav is mandatory. In the different situation, you can proceed using conventional navigation. So it means flying using the VOR, or also through radar vectors, it depends. But in this case, in some airports, very busy airport like Amsterdam, you have to follow this procedure and you have to comply with this. Okay, angle of bank 25 degrees, CPDLC log off. We assume that we had the CPDLC, but actually we didn't have, but that's okay. As I told you at the beginning of the video, I'm trying to give you an impression of what we do as a Highline pilots every day. Of course, sometimes I'm missing some important details, but please be patient with me and apologize, because you know the simulator is what it is. So it's not easy, and also is a little bit slow. So I try to give you a big picture of what I'm doing in my life, but it's not very easy with this type of computer. Okay, we're descending 200, 40.3 miles. We should be a NORCO between flat level 200 at or above and flat level 30 or below. So we are within the limitation, we are on profile, and that's good. Sometimes we can expect some shortcuts. So as I told you, if you can expect some shortcuts, you have to anticipate, because the risk is that we will be higher, and if you are too high and too close, the risk of energy approach is behind the angle, behind the corner. So you have to prepare everything in advance and be ready. Just 1 nautical mile before reaching NORCO, we assume that we will be cleared to descend flat level 70 to reach RTIP, our initial approach fix at the correct altitude. So just a second, we wait. We can anticipate the turn, matching the heading. Amsterdam City, Transavia, operated by Kulula. Now, as you can see, we are very high on profile. So what we can do in order to regain the profile is using the speed brake. We have to extend the speed brake until flight detent. There are different modes to fly the plane in order to regain the path. We can increase the speed using level change and then update FMC. We can use the VNAV, increase the speed directly in the FMC. We can use the speed brake or other stuff interesting, like for example start the descent earlier and then dissipate the energy before reaching our target altitude. It depends. The 737 is a quite interesting airplane because there is not a fixed way to fly the plane. There are different ways to fly this plane. Of course, the easiest one is the VNAV, but you know the V1 is not always the correct one. So sometimes you have to think outside the box and use different ways to fly the plane. Especially in an area like Amsterdam or I don't know, Paris, London, you can expect a lot of shortcuts, delays, so you have to be extra careful about this because it's not easy. So we can assume we are clear to descend flight level. Oh, it's too much. Flight level 70. Flight level 70 is set. Flight level 70 is checked. Good. We are coming back on profile, so we don't need the speed brake. So we can retract the speed brake. Good. You can see here, we are coming back on profile. Fantastic. Excellent. Okay, so the next point will be Robis. Robis, then Oscar, and then we reach our tip. Perfect. At the moment we expect to land in 23 minutes, so we are very close to our destination. Finally. Very good. Okay, we're continuing to descend flight level 70. Everything is prepared. And crossing flight level 180, we will switch on the local QNH that we assume will be 1013. If we don't switch, if we don't press this button, we can see here will become yellow. I mean, it's a reminder in order to keep and focus your attention on this part because you know, in this case, we're assuming that we're going to land with a QNH of about 1013, but let's assume that QNH is 1027. If you land with 1013, the difference is huge, so it's you have to be careful about this. And voila. So transition level, set QNH 1013, passing 7400 now, stem altimeter are set. I want to set also the altimeters on the other side, because we need both sides set at the same QNH 1013 set. Perfect. We don't have at the moment the identification for our localizer, and as we say, our localizer is .55 is the frequency, and the localizer will be Bravo Victor Bravo. At the moment we are still far away, usually around 20-25 nautical miles we can expect here the identification. So at that point we will proceed with the approach checklist. Furthermore, now we're descending at 280 knots, crossing flight level 100 as reported in the FMC. We will decrease our speed to 250 at hard tip, because at hard tip we have a restriction, maximum 250. So now, in a while, we can expect a decreasing. We can do also this manually, like for example, setting speed interval and decreasing manually our speed. But let's do the FMC does its job. In a path, close this one. We are on profile, direct RP, 10,000 feet or below, 7,000 feet at level. Our target altitude is 7,000, and we are on profile. After RT, we expect to proceed to Sierra Lima Papa Schipol, and just for situation awareness, we can set also the frequency of Schipol 108.4, so 108.4 here, and here we have Schipol 48.1 nautical miles. After passing over Schipol, we will start the last maneuvers in order to be stabilized on the final for runway 27. Schipol is in this area. For the moment, I will keep the view of Schipol for situational awareness. There's no sense at the moment, and it's useless leaving just the ILS frequency, because we don't have any information, any data that can be helpful for us. We have to keep in mind that the 737-800, of course, is a good aircraft, but it's not subjected to any situation without failures. So we can expect sometimes some mistakes by the computers. In this case, we have always to be ready to pick up the situation with our hands and to be ready to fix the problem. So in this case, if we lose the GPS system, we have to be able to continue the flight using conventional navigation, in this case using the VOR, for example. This is quite important, especially in a busy airspace with a lot of traffic around you. But in this case, we're very lucky because we are alone, we don't have anyone around of us. So we're crossing now 11,500, crossing 10,000, I will switch the lights on and we proceed with the last check. Now you can check the speed. Crossing 10,000 will start decreasing. We'll see the target speed. Here we go, 250, and you can see the plane will start reducing the speed. We have headwind, so it's quite easy for us reducing our speed. Sometimes we have tailwind, so it's not very easy. You have to play in a different way, so you have to start the configuration in advance. We're still on profile, RTIP, and then we proceed direct Sierra Papa Lima Schipol VOR. Also, it's mandatory, our NAV1 is required to fly this type of approach, and we are keeping our limitation. At the moment, the RMP is 0.30 and actual navigation performance 0.06, so we are within the limitation, so it's good, we can continue our approach. 10,460. Reducing the speed. We are on profile, so it's fantastic. Good. Okay, altimeters. Flight level 100, and we cross-check between the captain primary flight display and the first officer primary flight display. At this point, we are going to set these lights. We wait for the taxi light. We are going to switch the taxi light only once we will be cleared for the landing. Everything is completed. The cabin, we assume that is secure. Belts are on, passengers are seated. And we don't need any more this frequency, 1 to 1.5, deselected, and deselected as well. CPLC is already logged off, so flight level 100 is checked. Okay, we can try now the frequency for the ALS. We are still a little bit far away. Also, reaching Schipol, so the next point, we have a speed restriction. Next page, to 20. So now, in a while, you can see here, we're coming to 20. Okay, this is good. Now we have the identification, as we discussed previously. This is the identification for our localizer, Bravo Victor Bravo. We cross-check both frequency, so 11155, 11155, and also in the FMC, just to be sure, 11155. The ident for our localizer is Bravo Victor Bravo. We cross-check this and the pilot monitoring side. We cross-check that the standby instruments are set and the courses are set 266, 266, and also here 266. So the last check is completed. Now we can call, the pilot flying will call for the opera checklist. So the pro checklist, altimeters, QNH1013 set, QNH1013 set. Opera checklist is complete. It's good. Finally, after almost 2 hours, I thought it was faster this flight, but it's around 1 hour and 45 minutes, more or less. Finally, we're about to reach our destination. We are going to perform an autoland, so an autoland using the approach mode and both autopilot, Alpha and Bravo together. During an autoland, we have to be extra vigilant because it's quite different compared to normal landing. Because we have to monitor the systems in order to know if everything is working correctly, and the pilot monitoring especially should be extra vigilant about some aspects. First of all, at 500 radio feet, the pilot monitoring will call 500 radio flare armed. So 500 radio flare armed should be appear this here. And if the flare arm will not appear, both autopilots will disengage around 350 feet. Approaching the runway at 50 feet, we can see the call-out flare and also the call-out retard at 27 radio feet. Automatically, the plane will start to reduce the throttle and increase the pitch a little bit up. And automatically, we'll put the plane on the runway, we'll close the thrust lever. At that point, the throttle will automatically disengage, and we have manually disengage the autopilot. is our duty. So we are 9.4 miles from Sierra Papa Lima. Our VOR, Sierra Papa Lima 220. So now you can see now in a while the speed will become 220. Here we go, retard, VNAV speed 220. We can close this one, we don't need. We can check our profile. We are a little bit higher, so in this case, just to avoid high energy approach, we can use a little bit of speed brake. Until the position flight detent, not more. We're not allowed to use more. Flight detent, there. Okay, we're again on profile. So we can stow the speed brake, we don't need them. And also you have never to use the speed brake with a thrust engaged, because it's like using a car with a parking brake engaged, so it's common sense. Okay. Now we can start the descent. 2000. We have the correct speed, 220 knots, we are on profile. And now we're proceeding to Sierra Papa Lima. From Sierra Papa Lima, we proceed Alpha Mike 260. We're a little bit lower, so what we can do is use the vertical speed and decrease our rate of descent. 500 feet can be. Oh no, we are high, so in this case I will increase a little bit. $1,000 is enough. We're coming back on profile. We have to be extra careful now because we are in the final approach area, so we have to be configured correctly and avoid any high energy approach. So we continue this way. Around this point I will set flaps 1 and speed to 00 and flaps 5, but it's too early now. We have enough time to return on profile, no worries. Speed brake is down. Perfect. As you can see, we are returning on profile, so we can engage again VNAV. Arm VNAV speed. We have enough time to return on profile. Okay, we are descending. We are almost on profile. 350, 330 is decreasing. We are descending 2,000 feet. Our speed is 220 knots. So we can continue. We're reaching Amsterdam. You can see the graphic of my simulator is a real shit. Sorry, but this is not the point of this video. It's just to show you how we can fly and how can we use the real procedures also on a flight simulator. FMC speed, VNAV buff. Perfect. Okay, we are coming back on profile, VNAV buff. Fantastic. That's amazing. Then we continue inbound Alpha Mike 260. Alpha Mike 260, we don't have any speed restriction, but we are going to keep to 20 for the moment. Okay, we continue this way. As I told you, when we reach this point, Alpha Mike 261, I will start to decreasing the speed to 200 knots, and I will set flaps 1 and also flaps 5 just to anticipate. Around this point, Alpha Mike 639, no correction. Around this point, where the 4 miles ring is, I will put the gear down flap 15 and the flap 30 landing checklist. And then we fly an auto land for runway 27. The speed brake is armed, but I don't need at this moment, so speed brake down. Okay, 3.7 miles, approaching our point. I will decrease the range, I want to see better. Okay, we are on profile, 9.6 miles, good. Okay, at this point I will open the window, speed intervent, and I decrease the speed to 00 knots. To 00 knots. Okay, and I will call for flaps 1, speed check. And we check for the extension, monitoring also these instruments, because sometimes you can have flap asymmetry or flap that is not extended. So you have to be sure that the flaps are going down. Is it transit? Flaps 1 set. Good. Speed to 00. We can also call for flaps 5. So, 2. Flaps 5. And the same. Flaps 5 sets. I don't want to reduce the speed. I want to keep 200 knots for the moment because it's a busy airport and you are not allowed to fly very slow in this type of airports. You are not in a very small airport. In these airports like in London and Paris, you have to be fast because you have traffic behind you and it's full of planes, huge airport, so you have to keep a very high speed. Otherwise, you will take a sanction and your company will complain about it. Okay, we are 9.5, around 8 miles. I will match the speed. Okay, we are clear for the approach. So in this case, to fly an auto land, I will put approach mode R, command A and B. You see, both are green. The approach mode is R or blocking glide slope. Okay, 7 miles, so we can start reducing the speed. It's good. Overlock capture and glide slope capture. So ground heating is 267 is set, and also the Mr. Partial altitude that the Mr. Partial altitude is so you're down for the moment. Clear to land runway 27, Transavia 33, Mike 2. Stop the plane, and that's it. Thank you very much for your time here. I'm so sorry and apologize for the quality of the video. The simulator is what it is, but I think it's quite useful if you want to improve your skills as a pilot, as a simmer, and I will try to create more videos with more quality, but for the moment that's it. Thank you very much for your time. If you can share the video with your pilots friends, simmer friends. If you have any idea, any comments, any suggestions, is very welcome.